From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Nwawodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, attempts to sneak in another hoard of weapons is halted on arrival as the Nigeria Customs Service seizes assorted arms, drones and military equipment worth 1.5 billion naira exported from Turkey to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Nigeria's upper legislative chamber rejects a resolution seeking to investigate monies appropriated to previous service chiefs for the procurement of arms and ammunition. And the House of Representatives holds its open week. Speaker Abbas Tajuddin says the House will continue to improve its processes to ensure transparency as the executive arm of government promises collaboration with the legislature.
On business news tonight, Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission announces successful completion of the divestment of some international oil companies in the country.
On sports news tonight, Super Falcons coach Randy Waldrum selects 18 players for the women's football event at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, House of Representatives assures Nigerians that their right to association and peaceful protest will be protected at all times.
And in international news from London, a deadly hurricane which has been tearing through the southeast Caribbean has now killed at least 7 people.
The cargo unit of Customs Murtala Mohammed Airport Command has again intercepted a consignment of arms, drones and other military equipment. The arms laid in consignment and import from Turkey were dismantled and neatly concealed in plumbing materials. Handing over the arms to the National Center for Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, the Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, explains that the success was recorded strictly by intelligence and diligence of some of its officers.
In recent times, arms import syndicates have made several attempts at the Lagos seaport, on a port in River State, and now the cargo airport in Lagos State. What started as a piece of intelligence for the Murtala Mohammed Airport Command of the Nigeria Customs Service yielded this magnitude of seizure. Upon suspicion, an isolated consignment was found to conceal dismantled pieces of semi-automatic shotguns and other arms.
It was established that 4 packages inside this consignment were used to conceal 55 pieces of unassembled Joseph Magnum Tomahawk semi-automatic shotgun. These rifles were concealed using shower faucets. The duty-paid value of these illicit arms is 270,888,109 naira 29 kobo only.
Handing over the seized arms to the Southwest Coordinator of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons under the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, explains that the lone suspect will be diligently investigated.
All of those items associated with the shotgun will be handed over to the coordinator or his representative of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, operating under the Office of the National Security Advisor for diligent investigation and prosecution.
I received these arms so that normal procedure will be applied to them, that is, standard operation procedure will be applied to them, as a father in our functions.
Other items include 148 drones, 172 ballistic vests, 15 pieces of ballistic plates, 1 piece of ballistic ailment, 8 pieces of walkie-talkies, over 9,000 pieces of military and paramilitary badges, 20 pieces of camouflage vests and other camouflage uniform, 172 pieces of camouflage caps, and 120 pieces of binoculars with a total duty-paid value of over 1.5 billion naira.
The Senate has rejected a resolution seeking oversight monies appropriated to previous service chiefs for the procurement of arms and ammunition. The rejection comes against the backdrop of a motion raised by Senator Ali Ndume on the suicide attacks in Gwoza in Borno State and the urgent need to stem the tide of the menace. During that debate, Senator Adams Oshomole proposed an additional prayer asking the Senate not only to provide more funds for the army, but guard jealously to monitor these procurements. It stated that it has become expedient owing to activities of previous service chiefs who, rather than deploy public funds towards the purchase of security equipment and modern technology, allegedly diverted towards building universities and purchasing yachts. A National Assembly correspondent Gloria Umezoke reports.
The President of the Senate leads lawmakers as plenary resumes on the second legislative day for the week. In a motion of urgent national importance, the Senate's chief whip, Senator Ali Ndume, whips up the suicide attack in Gwoza, Borno State, where over 30 persons were killed and scores injured on June 29.
The victims were mainly civilians returning from a wedding ceremony where the assailant was identified.
Lawmakers raised significant concerns over the absence of adequate technology to advance security in the region.
It costs nothing for the intelligent army to get devices in their phone to know where these notorious criminals live. As I'm here, I check my phone regularly, and I know the number of guns that are very close to me here. There are over 277 guns.
If we educate young people, we'll be in a position to keep them out of some of these things that embarrass us.
The prayers, which include asking the federal government to secure hotspots inhabited by insurgents in Sambisa Forest and the Lake Chad region, were adopted. However, one senator had an additional prayer.
Under the supervision and oversight of this National Assembly, previous service chiefs diverted money to build universities in their various communities. Those are the kind of resources that should have been used to procure modern technology. We saw that the Navy even appropriate money to buy a yacht. That is why the oversight responsibility of this Senate is extremely important, to prevent the armed forces to prioritize in a manner that coincides with what we think the Nigerian army should be doing.
His prayer was seconded, but rather interestingly, when put to a voice vote, the prayer was quashed.
Those in support of this additional prayer say aye, and those against say nay. Okay. The nays have it.
In another motion of urgent national importance raised by Senator Asuko Ekpeyong, the lawmakers resolved to investigate the importation of substandard petrol and diesel into the country.
Also note that the quality of the said diesel is below the Nigerian standard in terms of flash and sulfur levels. Also aware that NMDPR has persistently continued to issue import licenses for diesel and jet fuel, despite sufficient local production capacity.
I wonder how the same agency of the government will import into the country adulterated diesel. We demand that we need a major reform. Head must roll in the Nigerian Petroleum Corporation and even other agencies of the government that are saddled with this responsibility.
Meanwhile, the President of the Senate corroborates views by other lawmakers that the issues within the Petroleum Industry Act should be reviewed. The ad hoc committee to be chaired by the Senate leader has been given 3 weeks to report back to the House.
He has not done anything, Mr.
Minutes after, the upper chamber dissolved into a closed-door session to discuss the conflict between the senator representing the FCT, Senator Ireti Kingibe, and the minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike. The outcome was not disclosed.
The Senate has also asked the federal government to further expand the Renewed Hope Legacy Road infrastructure projects to include the Calabar through to Maiduguri Highway to properly integrate the Northeast into the Legacy Road infrastructure projects in Nigeria. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News. Meanwhile, senators from the southeast zone of Nigeria have pleaded with President Bola Tinubu for the release of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. The senators, led by Senator Enyinnaya Baribe, say they believe the release of Mr. Kanu will be a plus towards the restoration of social and economic activities in the southeastern region. The senators held a closed-door meeting with the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, where their letter begging President Tinubu to release Mr. Kanu was delivered for onward passage to the presidency. Senator Baribe, who spoke on behalf of his colleagues after that meeting, lamented that the economic and social life in the southeast had suffered enough.
This matter cannot be resolved legally. And if we continue with the legal wrangling, that it will continue to cause the insecurities because the legitimate demands has been hijacked by criminals, undesirables, and all manners of elements who have used it to perpetrate their own nefarious deals on the rest of the people of the Southeast. Nobody in the Southeast likes what is going on. People cannot go out of their houses on Mondays. People are maimed and killed and all that. And some people are roaming around, killing even security men in the name of looking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And Nnamdi Kanu himself also confirmed to me last Monday that he never made any request of that nature that anybody should go and kill people. In fact, he was very pained that the Southeast is suffering because of this.
The United Nations resident coordinator in Nigeria, Mr. Mohammed Fall, has said that he's advocating for international and intentional tackling of the challenges of climate change, inequality and underdevelopment, which he says are the drivers of conflict and insecurity around the globe. The UN envoy was speaking at the National Stakeholders Consultative Peace Summit in Abuja ahead of the United Nations Summit of the Future, which is a conference which will hold in New York, United States.
Thank you. You may have a seat.
Officials of the United Nations, heads of missions and members of the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution are attending this conference at the United Nations building in Abuja to consult and prefer solutions to Nigeria's security challenges. The Director General of the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution sets the tone for today's deliberation.
At the heart of our discussion today lies the imperative to address the root causes of conflict and violence, to prevent crises before they escalate, and to build a more just and equitable world for all.
Conversations about the havoc, conflict and insecurity continue to wreak in various parts of the country, as well established by the UN resident coordinator. He further highlighted actions that must be taken to address these challenges.
The new agenda stresses the importance of preventive diplomacy to address the drivers of conflict, including poverty, inequality, climate change, closing development gap, and that lead to conflict in the first place. Nigeria, being Africa's most populous nation, is grappling with intricate security challenge. And as a regional power, Nigeria has a stake of shaping the regional and global agenda on peace and security.
The keynote speaker believes strongly that peace builders need to urgently localize their efforts.
It is said that politics is local. Crime and conflict are also extremely localized phenomena.
peace, sustainable peace, is a locally generated outcome. If you step into a community and you can understand who the warring actors are, what the issues are, what the grievances are, and you can achieve consensus in that community, you will have peace, because the factors are usually entirely local.
The United Nations will be hosting an international peace summit in New York, United States, in September this year. The summit, which is titled The Summit of the Future, New Agenda for Peace, is expected to come up with new resolutions to contemporary security challenges around the world.
In part two, after the break, the House of Representatives holds its open week. Speaker Abbas Tajuddin says the House will continue to improve its processes to ensure transparency, and the executive arm of government promises collaboration with the legislature. Please join us again.
Fidelity Bank is pleased to introduce its public offer and rights issue. For just 9 naira 75 kobo, you can subscribe for a share in Fidelity Bank, and shareholders can exercise their rights with just 9 naira 25 kobo per share in the rights issue. Time is ticking, so join us at Fidelity Bank. To subscribe, visit any registered stockbroker or any of the issuing houses to the offer, or any Fidelity Bank branch. Offer lasts till July 29th, 2024. For guidance, please read the prospectus or rights circular, or consult your stockbroker, fund or portfolio manager, banker, solicitor, or other professional advisors.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
It's hot. Have you seen the remote?
No, I haven't seen it.
How did you do that?
Hello, this is Premium Pension. How can we help? Our experts work behind the scenes, enabling our members grow wealth to secure a premium tomorrow. We see your hard work, and we make your money work hard for you. We are growing with you in commitment and service. Leveraging technology to meet your demands. Secure your future and pave way for the next generation. Embracing diversity with firm roots across the 36 states of Nigeria and the FCT. Premium Pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
We don't like to eat better, more nutritious meals, more veggies, but we want it tasty and easy too. No cubes. That's the secret. Made with real ingredients like chicken, parsley, and garlic. And enriched with iron, so your meals are better for you and more delicious too. That's the cocoa. Let's give it some accolades. Change your world by changing what's on your plate.
Yes, you can. And you can do it now with Taj Bank. Open an account with as little as 500 naira and earn profits with the Mudaraba savings account with Taj Bank. Enjoy zero account maintenance, withdraw as many times as possible, and still get profit. Offer is open to both new and existing customers. Open an account by downloading the Tajway app on Play Store, the Apple Store, or walk into any Taj Bank branch closest to you. Taj Bank, our only interest is you.
Papa, imagine we almost forgot the most important thing.
Like my health condition. I hope the blanket will be sufficient.
Sorry.
Papa, I'm glad you have not left.
Have you postponed the verification exercise?
No, Papa. You don't have to go anywhere. Look at what I have found.
an application that will verify you with the Military Pension Board.
Go to Google Play Store for Android phone users or App Store for iPhone users on your mobile device and search for Military Pension Board. Download the application named MPB Verification and follow the instructions for your verification with the Military Pension Board in 7 easy steps. Pensioners should ensure that their names on the MPB database are the same as those on their NIM and BVN to pass the verification.
Wow, amazing. Now that I have been verified, I do not need the blanket to save me for my pension to continue coming in. Take this.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 coming to you live on Channels Television from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Attempt to sneak in another hoard of weapons is halted on arrival as the Nigeria Customs Service seizes assorted arms, drones and military equipment at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. The Senate rejects a resolution seeking to investigate monies appropriated to previous service chiefs for procurement of arms and ammunition. House of Representatives holds its open week. Speaker Abbas Tajuddin says the House will continue to improve its process to ensure transparency as the executive arm of government promises collaboration with the legislature. And Hurricane Beryl heads for Jamaica and Cayman Island with a devastating combination of life-threatening storm surge. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has emphasized the importance of collaboration with ensuring the safety and the protection of citizens of Nigeria and Dubai due to the considerable number of Nigerians who live, work, and conduct businesses in Dubai, just as many United Arab Emirates nationals reside and engage in business activities right here in Nigeria. The Inspector General of Police made the call in Abuja when he received a high-level delegation from the Dubai Police Force at the headquarters as part of steps aimed at fostering multifaceted security cooperation between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates.
The two police forces have so many areas where we can collaborate. I am looking at having a police-to-police cooperation with Dubai where we can handle fugitive offenders more easily without going through the cumbersome process of mutual legal assistance. We have police-to-police cooperations with other countries in the world. We have with Japan, with South Korea, with so many other countries in the world. So I believe that it is time to establish that with the Dubai police, with Dubai too. So this your visit will enable us. We are going to leverage on this cooperation to ensure that henceforth we have a police-to-police cooperation with Dubai. There are other areas where we are looking at in collaborating with the Dubai police. No doubt about it, the Nigeria police is the largest in Africa. And we are trying hard to develop capabilities to set the pace for modern policing in Africa.
Well, it was a rainy day right here in Lagos today with many residents stranded due to the downpour and traffic on flooded roads. The Lagos Island and mainland were all badly affected by the flood.
The rains are here. Major parts of Lagos is affected by the downpour. From mainland to Lagos Island, nowhere is spared. Iyanoworo inward third mainland bridge is completely taken over by flood. Toluwashe area of Bega, Oworoshoki residential area is also submerged. Ikotu Road is not left out. Tricycle operators are trying to make their way through the water. Egbeda Akunwajo Road is overflowing. Some motorists struggle to drive through the flood. Ogba leading to Wemco Road is not so bad. But as a result of the rainfall, traffic is already building in some parts like Agege, Inward Ogba, and it's congested. While residents of the state are appealing to the government to clear the drainage more often to avoid flood disaster, there's also the responsibility of managing waste better.
New business unlocked. They go. Yeah, they go. You see, he lost.
We take you to other suburbs right here in Lagos, from Alaba, where shoppers struggle to keep their goods safe, and the Oshodi area of Lagos to Ikorodu Road, and to houses that could be seen submerged almost completely on the flood waters. Flooded streets in Ojota into Maryland, all the way to Iyanoworo. Ahead of the Third Mainland Bridge, it's been a wet and a flooded day in Lagos commercial nerve center of the country, and some residents have been lamenting the lack of drains, the inability of the state government to clear the blocked drains well in time before the rain started.
Before Third Mainland Bridge, high flood, submerging all cars going to Lagos Island. All cars highly submerged.
Away from that now, the Niger Delta Development Commission, the NDDC, has pledged to support the pilot and sustainable efforts aimed at mitigating perennial flood disasters in the oil-rich region. The NDDC Managing Director, Samuel Lobuku, made this assurance in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, at a one-day workshop on the implementation of the disaster emergency response strategy across the Niger Delta region. The workshop, with the theme Enhancing Resilience, Mitigating Flood Disasters in the Niger Delta region, was organized by the Commission's Directorate of Environmental Protection and Control. The chairman, Chief Executive Officer of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, is advocating an effective civil media military relationship as part of efforts to promote national security. Delivering a lecture on public opinion and the media during crisis management at the National Defense College in Abuja, Dr. Momo, who was represented by the chevening scholar, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, says the manipulative nature of public opinion, regular engagement of the media, is a panacea for the nation's security. He also advised that incorrect opinions be quickly countered by relevant agencies.
Members of Course 32 of the National Defense College are gathered here for a lecture on public opinion and the media in crisis management.
Always on the 10th
Guest lecturer, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, represented by Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, harps on effective media engagement to shape public opinion.
Every government in the world is mindful of public opinion. Every government does things, that tend to be people-centric, because you want to gratify yourself, to the people so that they will feel good about you. And of course, when they feel good about you, you draw legitimacy, you draw goodwill, and of course it can be very empowering, therefore enhancing your ability to do better.
Beyond effective media engagement, the guest lecturer advocates gauging people's opinion through regular monitoring of social media.
Perception, opinion that is wrong, that is not correct, it's not something that we should allow to lie low. We need to try as much as possible to join issues where it is necessary, correct wrong perception so that it will not stick. Because the last section of the populace are innocent. They are likely to believe things they're not necessarily cynical, likely to believe things that you think they will not believe. And do not forget, the audience, the crowd, is largely feeble.
At the end of the lecture, there are a short session of questions and answers, after which the Deputy Commandant of the college wraps up the event with a call for introspection by participants.
So the truth is always in you. These things, they are not lost. Don't worry. Once you are in a public space, people will say all manner of things. Be it true, be it lie. But make that conscious effort. Wherever you find yourself when you do that, to introspect and say, look, this thing this person has said, is true.
As the guest lecturer takes his leave, participants regroup to digest the content of the lecture, deliberate on it, and bring out a workable and implementable plan.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission announces successful completion of the divestment of some international oil companies in the country. Please join us again.
Una know they work. What did they happen for here? We wait for manager make us pay us our money. No. Manager, what's happening here? Manager, why you dey hide? They no allow me go back. They say I go run. Manager, why you no use first money wallet bulk payment? Pay them now. Not true. Yes.
Amuna, calm down. Oh yeah, make una bring out una phone. Dial *894*1# to open your first money wallet. This money, if you like raw cash, you fit withdraw them, pay bills, or even transfer themselves. I don't pay all of una. I beg you 5 goza for first money wallet.
Enjoy the unlimited life with First Money Wallet. Dial *894*1# on any mobile phone to activate now. You first. First Bank.
New Rexona Advanced Protection Roll-On. For all-day, non-stop protection from sweat and odor. Keeps on working all day. Stay dry and fresh for longer. Try Rexona. It won't let you down.
Yes, you can. And you can do it now with Taj Bank. Open an account with as little as 500 Naira and earn profits with the Mudaraba Savings Account with Taj Bank. Enjoy zero account maintenance, withdraw as many times as possible, and still get profit. Offer is open to both new and existing customers. Open an account by downloading the Tajway app on Play Store, the Apple Store, or walk into any Taj Bank branch closest to you. Taj Bank, our only interest is you.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of a family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Niger. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
O lè má mọ̀ gbà tí èémí ẹnu rẹ̀ ń rùn, ó sì lè jẹ́ bakitéríà ló fà á. Má jẹ́ kí èémí ẹnu rírùn tí bakitéríà ṣe okùnfà yẹ̀yẹ́ rẹ̀. Lo Close-Up tó ní antibacterial zinc. Close-Up á bá ọ lé èémí ẹnu rírùn batéríà lọ.
We have more for you on the news at 10 as we head over to Abuja studios now where Malkwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by. Hello, Malkwe.
Hello, and well, we're talking about the National Assembly now. Against the backdrop of the rights of citizens to disagree with government policies, the House of Representatives is assuring Nigerians that their rights to association and peaceful protest will be protected. At a high-level meeting on enhancing citizens' participation and protecting dissent in Nigeria, the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Mr. Akinrotimi, says citizens have a constitutional right to dissent, which should be exercised peacefully. He, however, appeals to media practitioners to self-regulate in addition to checkmating the spread of fake news.
Trust is the bedrock of
Enhancing citizens' participation and protecting dissent in Nigeria is the focus of this high-level meeting put together by the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project. The conversation begins with an assurance by the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Media and Public Affairs on the protection of citizens' rights.
There is a legal framework that establishes the rights of citizens. Of course, we know Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended guarantees citizens' rights to freedom of expression, assembly and association. We have the Freedom of Information Act and other acts. That's to say that we have the legal and constitutional framework that guarantees, these freedoms.
On the strength of the assurance from the House, speakers at the event are unanimous on the need for democracy to thrive.
As part of our ministry's mandate, it is essential to ensure access to justice to all persons, irrespective of their social, political, ethnic, and political stand, and to the observance of the rule of law and due process by all ministries, departments, and agencies.
As civil society activists and concerned Nigerians, we must reflect deeply and ponder on how we can build a democratic citizenship that will not only participate effectively in the democratic process, but will be the main determinants of the direction of Nigeria's democracy.
Democracy is that which allows unrestricted citizens' participation, where everyone's voice is heard, no matter how unpopular or controversial, and where dissenting voices are protected.
SERAP used the opportunity to present its 2024 report on systemic crackdown on civil space, democratic rights, and media freedom in Nigeria.
From the findings of the report, we've seen that a greater percentage of Nigerians only feel free to express critical views that appears to be critical of government policies, actions with their friends and families and colleagues.
Ahead of the 2027 elections, participants at this meeting are optimistic that the nation's civic space will flourish to ensure that the government is held accountable.
The governor of Adamawa State, Umaru Fintiri, has thrown his weight behind the calls for local government autonomy, insisting that it be done through constitutional amendment. Governor Fintiri made his position known while declaring open the mandatory continuity professional development program of the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, at the banquet hall of the Government House. The governor, who is a special guest at the event, did not mince words about some national issues, such as local government autonomy, the result of the removal of fuel subsidy, and the revenue sharing formula by the federal government, amongst others.
I want to say here loud and clear that I am supporting the local government autonomy. But the process should be through constitutional amendment. The same way, I'm also calling on the federal government to give the states its own financial autonomy. In the last 12 months, this government removed subsidy on oil. A lot has come into the coffers of the federal government, of the Federation, as revenue. But in most cases and in all times, only half of such revenue is being shared to the states and local government. Contrary to the provision of the Constitution that says all revenues that accrue to the Federation account shall be shared. So with this, I want Labour to understand, when governors are saying we will not be able to pay minimum wage, you know our direction and you know what we are saying.
In other news, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has alerted the public of the plan by a group to instigate a protest against the commission. In a statement on Wednesday by its spokesperson, Dele Oyewale, the EFCC notes that the group has been actively campaigning in the social media, recruiting impressionable young Nigerians, including students, to take up arms against the EFCC. This insidious campaign, according to the Commission, is being promoted as a resistance to the operational activities of the Commission, especially in respect to the enforcement of the laws dealing with cybercrimes. The statement notes that the Commission, while not averse to protests by citizens, is alarmed by emerging evidence that suggests a grand design by corrupt elements under investigation or prosecution by the Commission to exploit the so-called protest to orchestrate a national uprising that may threaten the peace and security of Nigeria. The Commission states categorically that it will not tolerate any breakdown of law and order anywhere in the country, especially around its office locations across the country. It adds that it's working with sister security agencies and taking security measures to deal with possible threats to the peace and security of the country. The statement also appeals to parents, guardians, and heads of tertiary institutions to take responsibility in ensuring that their wards are not recruited to be used as cannon fodder in a war it terms as proxy against the Commission by vested corrupt interests. And that's all from our Abuja studios. It's back now to you, Anne.
Thank you, Maokwe. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, says the House will continue to improve the processes to ensure transparency. The Speaker stated this at the opening session of the House Legislative Open Week, where he harped on sustained citizen engagement to further entrench the country's democracy. And National Assembly correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
It's the opening ceremony of the 2024 Legislative Week, organized by the House of Representatives in collaboration with the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center and Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. The event, which seeks to improve inclusion through citizens' engagement, coincides with the commemoration of the country's 25 years of uninterrupted democracy. Following a welcome address by the Deputy Speaker of the House, President Bola Tinubu, through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, promises improved collaboration with Parliament.
A nation experiences development only when the citizenry actively engages in the democratic process. Under my leadership, the executive stands ready to work collaboratively with the legislature to create the needed legislative framework that fosters inclusion.
This is followed by goodwill messages.
While we may be quite happy that we have unbroken 25 years of legislature, that we also have the challenge that for a lot of people, they may actually themselves be broken and be unserved by the democracy that we currently practice.
As Africa's largest democracy, the consolidation of democratic values and practice matters not only for Nigerian citizens, but for the African continent and beyond.
Democracy can only continue to thrive and survive if we continue to do what is right.
Our democracy thrives when every voice is heard and every citizen feels part of the process and can take part in the process.
Public concerns about the cost of running Parliament and the living standard in the country are also addressed.
Let me say this, and I'm saying it because it is the truth. My allowances, everything as a speaker then, was 25 million naira. There was never a time that money lasted 3 days.
Standing here to make any excuses about our salaries, about our allowances, will not be entertained by Nigerians. What we need to do is to reduce the level of poverty, level of unemployment, create jobs for our people, and most importantly, also try as much as possible to come with very robust legislation that can strengthen some of the institutions that need to be strengthened.
At the heart of every governance issue is the matter of transparency, accountability, and honesty. What this open week does for us today is that it enables the people, as was said by a previous speaker, to not just talk to the people, but also to interact with them.
The need for transparency is further buttressed by the Speaker of the House.
We are dedicated to maintaining open lines of communication with the public and to continuously improving our processes to ensure greater transparency and accountability. By doing so, we aim to strengthen the democratic process and build a more inclusive and responsive legislature. We believe sustained engagement with citizens will lead to more effective governance and a stronger, more resilient democracy.
For the next 2 days, members of the House will interact with citizens and development partners to enable them prioritize legislative actions that will align with the needs of the people. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
As part of arrangements to meet the Central Bank of Nigeria's recapitalization exercise, one of Nigeria's leading multinational financial services group, Access Holdings PLC, has held a formal signing ceremony in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. And this is to raise over 351 billion naira to enhance its working capital requirements, which includes organic growth funding for its banking and non-banking subsidiaries.
It's a celebratory and networking ambience at Access Towers as the board of directors, executive management, ranking stakeholders, shareholders and other strategic partners gather for a landmark and significant milestone of Access Holdings PLC's rights issue signing ceremony.
Valued shareholders, the board of directors.
To get things started, acting managing director and chief executive officer Bolaji Akpede discloses that the move will help maximize emerging opportunities. But there's more.
The right issue, which is a key component of our 2023 to 2027 strategic plan, is open to existing shareholders at 19.75 naira per share and offered on the basis of 1 for every 2 ordinary shares held as at Friday, June 7, 2024.
In his keynote remarks, the chairman, Mr. Agboje Aigimukide, is confident the event, which signifies a pivotal chapter in the group's history, will strengthen the company's balance sheet as well as provide a robust platform for ambitious growth objectives.
Whilst, of course, it enables early compliance with the central bank move for an overall recapitalization of our sector, the proceeds will be used to support our very, very noble intentions to fly the Access Bank flag across Africa and beyond Africa.
And then comes the big moment. In his closing remarks, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Access Bank PLC, Roosevelt Ogbonna, expresses the group's commitment to shareholders.
We've shared with the market that we're moving from a phase of investment to consolidation, and what that means from a shareholder value perspective, and how much value will accrue to shareholders as we begin to pay them back for the belief and the faith that they've had in our institution over the course of the last 20 years. If there's ever a time you needed to join the train and remain there, this rights issue gives us that opportunity to do so.
Access Holdings PLC, subject to approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, the acceptance and application lists for the rights issue are expected to open on Monday, July the 8th, 2024, and close on Thursday, August 8th, 2024.
We have more stories for you in the world of business. Dominic Iwewu is standing by.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Anne. Welcome to Business News. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has announced the successful completion of the divestment of some international oil companies. The chief executive of the commission, Engineer Gbenga Komalafe, who made this known at the ongoing Oil and Gas Energy Week in Abuja, says the IOCs that have completed their divestments include Nigerian Ajib Oil Company, which has now been divested into Oando, and Equinor, which has now become Project Odemin. The Dutch Entrepreneurial Development Bank and Nigeria's First City Monument Bank have signed a $25 million Nasera guarantee agreement funded by the European Commission. The initiative aims to expand funding for agriculture, youth and women-owned SMEs in Nigeria, which are traditionally regarded as being too risky by banks. The Nasira program, which replaces the need for collateral, has proven that these groups are not riskier borrowers. This effort addresses the country's high unemployment and economic challenges by offering small loans to help individuals start and grow their businesses. In addition, FMO will support FCMB with a $60 million syndicated loan, enhancing the bank's SME loan portfolio. During the 9th Nigerian-European Union Business Forum, the EU ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Ms. Samuela Isiopa, emphasized the bloc's role in fostering private sector investments for economic diversification and job creation. A technical assistance program will also support 15 early-stage agri-tech businesses, contributing to food security and zero hunger goals. And from there, we head to the stock market, which has maintained its previous gain for a second consecutive session. Lady Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The midweek session continued in the green with a more convincing gain today about 0.23%, and we're 299 points higher above that 100,000 level for the all-share index, market cap 56 trillion. Let's look at the trading activity. It's not as buoyant as yesterday, but we see more naira was spent there by investors, 4.75 billion naira. That was what was traded in the market today. To the sectoral performance, we see insurance again shining. This time, 2.67% jump with the likes of Cornerstone Insurance, Guinea Insurance PLC, Axim Asset Insurance, all adding to their share price, bumping up that counter. So the second half of 2024 seems to be kicking off positive with about 0.28% rise so far, but still early days. That's the stock market report. The bull sustains.
Now let's find out the closing performance of major stock markets for Wednesday. And that's it on Business News. Back to you, Anne, for the rest of the bulletin.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Dominic. Hurricane Beryl is still on course to make landfall in Jamaica as it tears through the Caribbean. In anticipation of the hurricane, electricity has been shut off in the capital, Kingston, a move by authorities to protect the power grid. Here's Simon Puse with other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A deadly hurricane which has been tearing through the southeast Caribbean has now killed at least 7 people. Hurricane Beryl became the earliest storm to develop into a Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic before weakening to a still destructive Category 4. Powerful winds have caused chaos in Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Tens of thousands of Palestinians are seeking shelter and a safe location as the exodus from Gaza's second city of Khan Yunis continues in response to Israeli military evacuation orders. The UN estimates that 250,000 people in eastern parts of the city are affected by the orders issued on Monday, which suggest Israeli forces are set to re-enter. Reports say an Israeli airstrike on Tuesday killed 12 Palestinians in an Israeli-designated humanitarian area to which people have been told to flee. A major hospital in Khan Yunis also now stands empty after all of its patients and medical personnel left. Officials say at least 5 people have been killed by a Russian drone and missile strike on the central Ukrainian city of Dnipro. A further 39 people were injured in the blast early on Wednesday morning. Officials said shops, schools and hospitals were damaged by the strike. Footage shared on social media showed a large plume of smoke and fire erupting from buildings after the blast. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attack and renewed his appeal to Western allies to supply his government with further air defense systems. President Joe Biden has blamed his poor debate performance last week on jet lag, telling reporters that he wasn't very smart for travelling around the world a couple of times before the debate. "I didn't listen to my staff and then I nearly fell asleep on stage," he said. However, the 81-year-old last returned from travel on the 15th of June, nearly 2 weeks ahead of the 27th of June debate. The president's remarks come amid intra-party panic ahead of November's election over his mental fitness and after a congressman from Texas became the first sitting Democrat lawmaker to call for him to step aside following the debate. Lloyd Doggett said, "I am hopeful that he will make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw."
Coming home to Texas this weekend, I would say that the input from my constituents has been 10-1 in favor of replacing President Biden on the ticket. And I'm not an advocate for any other candidate, and I would not know tonight who I would prefer of the possibilities. What I do see is a strong bench, though perhaps not as well known nationally. We've got several governors. We've got several members of the United States Senate, undoubtedly the vice president, maybe some other members of the cabinet.
Sierra Leone has brought in a new law banning child marriage with much fanfare at a ceremony organised by First Lady Fatima Bio in the capital Freetown. Invited guests, including First Ladies from Cape Verde and Namibia, watched as her husband, President Julius Maada Bio, signed the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act into law. Anybody now involved in the marriage of a girl aged under the age of 18 will be jailed for at least 15 years or fined around $4,000 or both. And Greece has introduced a 6-day working week for certain industries in a bid to boost economic growth. New legislation, which came into effect at the start of July, allows employees to work up to 48 hours in a week as opposed to 40. It only applies to businesses which operate on a 24-hour basis and is optional for workers who get paid an extra 40% for the overtime they do. However, the move by the Greek government is at odds with workplace culture elsewhere in Europe and the US, where 4-day working patterns are becoming more common. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Super Falcons head coach Randy Waldrum has picked Rasheedat Ajibade, Chiamaka Nadozie, Osinachi Ohale, Asisat Oshoala, and 14 other players in his final list for this month's Paris Olympics Women's Football Tournament. There are also Oluwatosin Dimei and Michelle Alozie, Deborah Abiodun, Alimatu Ayinde, Christy Uchebe, and Tony Payne, and forwards Esther Okoronkwo, Chiwendu Ihezue, and Uchenna Kanu. The players and coaches are expected to begin a 2-week training session in Sevilla, Spain, next week. 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka has crashed out of Wimbledon in the second round after losing to Emma Navarro of the United States. Osaka went down 6-4, 6-1 and sent to court in less than an hour. The 26-year-old is now ranked at 113, having only returned to the tour in January after giving birth to daughter Shai last year. In the battle against drug use at the Paris Olympics, the International Testing Agency ITA plans to deploy more streamlined, high-tech approach to identify and target potential cheats. Benjamin Coyne, Director General of the ITA, said potential tools at its disposal included biological and performance passport, as well as a mountain of other data. Upgraded software, possibly using artificial intelligence, could also help. An investigative unit aided by the whistleblowers was making inroads, and increased cooperation with sports bodies and police was bearing fruits. That's it in sports. It's back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. An attempt to sneak in another hoard of weapons was today halted on arrival as the Nigeria Customs Service seized assorted arms, drones and military equipment worth 1.5 billion naira exported from Turkey to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawaju. Good night.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of Entertainment News on Channels Television, your one-stop shop for all things fashion, music and lifestyle. When it comes to showbiz, you know we always have you covered. I am Ewa Lua Gubodede. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Marvin Records singer Rema joins Wizkid in the class of 100 as his album Raven Roses stays over 100 weeks on Billboard chart. Pacho Ranking speaks on his music journey as he makes impacting donation in his community.